welcome back. We continue here with the DreamHack Showdown Winter with North America. I know, ladies, that is a scene very close to your heart, considering you're in it. And Miss Harvey Potter, I want to start off by just getting some general hype for Cyberblue and Dignitas. Potter, you first.
Okay, well, let's see. Dignitas, Rain, she absolutely showed up. She was far and above everyone else in the server. So definitely, okay, this is starting off on the wrong foot. Am I hyping Dignitas or am I not hyping Dignitas?
You're hyping the series.
I'm hyping up the series. Look, Dignitas had a wake-up call in their opening series. Showdown's debut, it didn't go as smoothly or as ideally as I'm sure they would have hoped. But that wake-up call is going to come through and showcase it here. These ladies have been a squad for years. The core of Emily, Rain, and Artstar. It's not Artstar anymore. It is Milk.
Joliana.
It is Milk. These ladies have been together for years. So certainly for them, they should turn things around. And we're going to see it here in this series.
To add their stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, the one question mark that we have here, because we saw how slow Dignitas started, and unfortunately it led them to be in the lower bracket very early in this tournament. But it's also a question of how fast Cyberstorm Blue is gonna show up today, because they're coming in with a 1-0 game. They need to win or else they're going home. They had to forfeit their initial matchup versus CLG Red, so we know nothing about them in the recent form since they picked up Giraffe. So although they had a really great performance, finishing third at the last showdown, is it going to be enough today to beat Dignitas in this lower bracket?
Like the question marks, let's take a look at how these teams got to where they are today. The brackets is what I'm talking about. Dignitas indeed falling to an upset from Violent Roses just a couple of days ago, where unfortunately for Cyberstorm Blue, they had to forfeit their map against CLG Red. Now, that being said, I think the result would have probably been the same, them meeting in the lower bracket here, but it is leaving them without any kind of like warm-up showing, hey, could work in their advantage. It could just mean that there is no information on them, so Dignitas might be surprised they didn't have to show everything they had against CLG Red yet. We are first and foremost gonna start with the map veto, as we have it here. Potter, anything in particular that you're expecting to see on the map veto?
I hope for Cyberstorm Blue's sake, they actually target and pick out either Dust 2 or Overpass. I think, Dignitas definitely showed some weak points there coming through. So hopefully they pounce on that and they lean hard into it. Dignitas probably just that nuke coming out. But okay, it's going to be trained for Dignitas here.
Yeah, Dust 2 actually picked by Cyberstorm Blue, Steph.
You were right. And now that I think about it, I think Dignitas, by never playing Vertigo, might be shooting themselves in the foot in the longer run. Like, if we're talking multiple tournaments here, look at this, Christine. Your two weakness maps out of Dig are in the best of three today. So if we have a 1-1 map here coming out of the first two, Overpass is going to be the decider. And this is where Cyberstorm could cause a surprise to Dig.
Yeah. They could. We are also going to look at what Twitch.chat has to say. We know previously they were atrociously wrong. It was actually embarrassing. Please, Twitch.chat, we know you can do better. #Cyber, #Dig. Who we are siding with, you'll hear later on, so you can't even base anything of that. So let's move to the team Cyberstorm Blue, the team with less information on them at the moment compared to Dignitas. There is one thing that I was told I found out. Did I find out? No, I was told Bouchard went for a trial on Dignitas and then got kicked, or rather got told she was not in. And I think, we started the whole tournament saying drama is good. So I'd say, Potter, let's spice that up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for sure, for Bouchard especially, it's going to be a little bit personal this series, and I love that. I love being invested and it meaning just a little bit more. So for Bouchard, I'm sure she's going to get in that server and give everything she's got. And it's not for the first time around. She's definitely come through and faced off against Dignitas on multiple occasions, and I'm looking straight at Kimmy. The girl on your screen here, she's the in-game leader, and she impressed over the DreamHack Summer Showdown with her strategies, with just micromanaging certain plays, and honestly with her firepower as well. She seems to know what she needs to do to get the job done in the server. So definitely, I'm looking straight at Kimmy for this series.
They also are wearing the same beanie.
Yeah, well, not to spoil things, but they might or might not be living together at the moment. But the one thing that we have to talk about is how good friends they are too. You know, these girls are BFFs in and out the server, and that sometimes can count for a lot. I know for Dignitas it does. Dignitas being so close together, when there's downs and ups, they do it together and they can pick themselves up. But for Cyberstorm Blue, it is the same. They are always together. They spent so much time together, and the energy between that team is just so positive. So even if they might be behind at some point in this game, I will never count them out just because of that positivity that can come out of it.
Yeah, but they can also start a band with all the instruments I'm seeing at the back of their rooms. Of course, Coach Voltage on the screen right now for Cyberstorm Blue. And Steph, we heard Potter say that she is looking at Kimmy, also in-game leader, of course, big value for the team. Is there any player in particular for Cyberstorm Blue that you're looking at to perform and to do well today?
Well, obviously, I have a question mark with Smiley because she's been on and off that roster in the last couple of months. Sometimes she's coaching, sometimes she's playing. She's also the one that works the most, so I can't wait to see how she performs. She's the veteran of the team. But I have to give it to Giraflee, because Giraflee is their new pickup. She just came from the Violent Roses roster, coming out of the last Showdown. So I have to see how she meshes with that team and how she performs under pressure.
All right, well, let's move forward to Dignitas. We had high hopes for Dignitas a couple of days ago. They didn't really show up. Potter, why do you think they didn't show up, and maybe will they show up today?
Certainly, these ladies have to show up today. They definitely have to. And there was a couple of pieces, right? I mean, we had Thea popping up, we had Rain popping up, and actually, Emily had some good rounds as well. So I thought that with that sort of firepower, with these core ladies showing up, it would be enough. But Sholiana, as I mentioned before, her debut, it wasn't quite as clean as it should have been. And I think maybe the communication is still going to need some time to kind of mesh, marinate, and get over those growing pains. She is fairly new on this squad, so it's yet to be seen exactly how well she's going to perform in this new environment, being the newest member. But I mean, surely with the veteranship and the leadership and even the coach in the back of Dignitas, she should start to feel a lot more comfortable. And I think that starts here today in this series.
Surely, says Potter. But surely they should do better, Steph. Surely. I
mean, you have to do better than a loss, right? If you want to continue in a tournament. But Potter is right. You know, at a caliber level that Dignitas is playing at, they can't really afford to have a new pickup be that much of a weak link like we saw a couple days ago with Sholiana. There's a lot of potential in there, but she has to show up today versus Cyberstorm Blue, or else they might reconsider all the effort that they've put to bring her to NA and secure her spot on the roster.
Now, I know both of you in the green room earlier said, you know, this might be early for the girls, and it might have an impact on their performance, because normally they play later at night. But to be honest, they look awake. They look ready.
We see a lot of coffees.
The makeup's on fleek. Yeah, no, they definitely look ready. And I thought that would definitely be a relevant topic to bring up, just because on the West Coast, it's definitely not gamer hours. I think it just hit 11 a.m. out there. So most of these ladies on Dignitas are on the West Coast. Hopefully they've figured out some sort of practice regime and figured out to wake up a little bit early to warm up those fingers. But yeah, they're definitely going to have to come out swinging from the start, because they don't want to be in the same position they were in a couple days ago, where they were faltering and behind for a lot of those rounds.
And historically, Cheever, I know you've not been in the scene for that long, but historically, Dignitas always has slow starts. You know, even when they've been at the top of the world winning tournaments, they always struggle with group play or first round brackets. Not that Usually they don't lose though. They struggle, but they can make it out and finish and win the tournament. But right now, this one was a pretty big stumble.
Well, of course, Andrea and Violet Roses made it pretty tricky for them. But perhaps, yeah, they need that pressure from the lower bracket elimination on the line. Perhaps that will make them tick and will make them take home a victory here today. I'm curious to hear what you think. Steph, you go first. Who do you think will take the series?
I have to respect the trophies on the shelf and the experience, and I have to go with Dig, especially because Cyberstorm wasn't able to play and show us what they can do early on this week.
Yeah, I have to echo that. I'm going with Dignitas here as well. I think the lower bracket team, that storyline that Steph was kind of alluding to is exactly it. This is Dignitas' time to step up.
I would then also echo that. I would be a fool going against the both of you in the predictions like this. And on top of that, yeah, you are right, Steph. We have not yet seen Cyberstorm Blue. Curious to see if they can prove us wrong. Let's see if Twitch chat thinks that they can prove us wrong.
Oh, wow.
I mean, in favor of Dig, but actually very close.
Yeah.
It is very close.
Surprising.
But there's a lot of fans of Cyberstorm. They have a great community, so I have to give props to them for voting for their teams.
I mean, that is fair enough. They got to root for their team. Win or lose, you stick with your team no matter what. Makes it all the better if your team actually does end up winning. We're going to find out who's going to take the first map of today for the NA Showdown. Over to Train, is it? No, Dust 2. Dust 2. Let's go.
Apparently my microphone was derping. I'm back, right?
You pulled a Mitch. You pulled a Mitch.
Classic memes. Basically, I just said, hello, welcome, I'm Vince, there's Blair. We're going to be guiding you through this best of 3.
Great start, Vince. It's got to be Dust 2 as well coming on in. I'm truly excited for this one.
No, as am I, to be honest. I think, when you look at the teams, Dignitas have their issues, as they touched on the desk. Cyberstorm Blue, there's some question marks. They've just had their 5th come in. There's a lot of sort of history between the players as well. Potential, trial that didn't quite pan out for Bouchard. So you've got all of these pieces of puzzles. You've got all these little intertwined storylines. And I'm really curious how it's going to play out on the server. Dust 2 and then Train, 2 similar maps in the sense that you're expecting the AWPers to really prevail here. But I actually don't really know what to expect from this match.
Yeah, I won't lie. And both are maps where there is the possibility of things kind of spiraling out of control, right? On the opposite sides, obviously, you look at a map like Train, you start on the T side, and you can't get going. You just get shut down consistently. But at least on paper for me, I have to side with the desk as well. Everyone was kind of like, yeah, Dig, have this in the bag. The thing is, I haven't seen their opponents play this tournament, right? I unfortunately had a little bit of conflicting, I think like schedule conflicts. So they couldn't play the first game. It was a walkover against CLG Red for Cyberstorm Blue, that is. And, with a new player coming on in, Dust 2 being picked, I'm expecting a puggy, rough, unpredictable style. And looking at the fact that Dig did lose earlier this tournament to Violent Roses, which was a bit of an upset, Vince, you know what? Anything could happen. I feel like this is up in the air.
Yeah, it's a map that lends itself to more of a loose kind of style of CS, perhaps. And the fact that they do already have a loss on it shows they're maybe on a little bit of shaky ground. But then you go across to Cyberstorm Blue, there's an element of uncertainty. We don't quite know what they're going to be bringing to this map. Because in terms of the past, obviously they've had different cores and different players. They're actually 1-4 on this map themselves over the last few months. So it's not exactly a bastion of hope. It's not one of their go-to maps, it would seem like, strategically or statistically. But then again, Draftleys came into the squad. Maybe that offers a huge amount of success on Dust 2 and this starts to be a map that they get successful with.
Yeah, let's see how it's going to play out, though, obviously. But for me, like what I did manage to gauge from the side of Dig on the Dust 2, they lost to Violent Roses. I think, if I remember right, it was 16-14 scoreline, was the fact that their CT side was really lacking. They were getting outplayed outgunned and just mind-gamed by their opponents, which is a little problematic, especially when you're a team who are one of the bigger favorites in the region, just second behind CLG Red. And also, it could be because of the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, if my sources of information are correct, Vince, they are playing 2 games simultaneously. They are playing Counter-Strike and the colorful Counter-Strike as well at the same time, which is, especially when you're trying to play 2 separate esports games, even though they're very similar at the highest levels. Let's be real. It is hard to maintain form in either of those 2 games.
Right, no, absolutely. I mean, sure, there are some similarities between the games, but there's drastic differences. And in terms of the strategies, in terms of the abilities and everything else that comes to the forefront, it will be a difficult one to juggle. So yeah, I mean, maybe that having that sort of divided attention could very well come back to bite them in the backside. What we do know about Dignitas, though, is in their previous game that I got to cast, Thea and Rain in particular had really good games. They were looking very sharp indeed. Yes, Showdown didn't have the greatest of debuts. Actually, her 3rd map was good, though. She stepped up when it was really required. So there's a lot of positives that you could say. Emily had a slow game, but really picked it up. And we saw big moments from Milk, too. So, I mean, it was a disappointing performance. They definitely had their issues, but we also saw glimpses of exactly what Dignitas do bring to the table and why they are one of the favorites coming into this tournament.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do believe we have a bit of some technical issues, though, unfortunately, right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going to a very quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the game.
We are back. Apologies for technical issues. One of the players could not get on the server, but it seems, Blair, that things have been resolved. They've been remedied, and we should be getting into our first map very, very shortly.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I've been raring to go for like the past 10-20 minutes right now, so I'm happy that everything's been sorted out. The players going to be jumping on into the server. I do believe it is going to be Dust2 indeed. We saw some of the players playing a little bit of footy, as I do believe that's what you guys call it. I don't know. Is it soccer, Vince? Is that heresy? I don't know.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
It is heresy, isn't it?
Yeah, football. I think the Southerners call it footy. Definitely not in the North.
Football. Let's go with football.
Yeah.
I like football. Soccer sounds like a bad dish. Anyway, they're going to be jumping into the game. It's not going to be a ball. It's going to be guns and bullets. It's going to be being spewed by both the teams here. A quick recap, though, right? I mean, we speak about Dignitas being the favorites here, but that's what we said when they faced off against Violent Roses earlier on. So, you know, there is the possibility, the faint potential of this game still being kind of close.
There is, yeah. I don't think that Dignitas are going to be too proud at how that first match went. And I really do think, Blair, coming through onto this one, they've got a few points to prove. You know, it's not just a win. I think it needs to be a pretty convincing win.
It has to indeed, and Thea is going to be the player for me to watch. She and Rain were spectacular, despite the loss they had earlier. Bouchard, this is rough. She's alone, all by lonesome. She's got to make contact, getting the opening kill, but quickly traded as Rain's going to come charging on out, and the smoke's actually going to be quite detrimental. Show Liana finding Snowy, and they see the defense is kind of falling apart here.
Yeah, Bouchard caught in an awkward position, posted up one, but now post plant comes into play, and Smiley trying to ride around the back of the T, see if she can maybe pick off one and escalate things back in Cyberstorm's favor. Flashbang is good, affords the double peek in the swing, yields a frag, but Smiley straight back with one of her own. Could be more forthcoming, but Thea holds the line, as does Milk. Dignitas claim first blood.
They do indeed. That was a bit awkward for Cyberstorm, right? I guess they were expecting maybe a mid to be hit perhaps. They were playing a little aggressive towards that mid area, but unfortunately leaving Bouchard all by lonesome. A player who, amongst the 5 players on the side of Cyberstorm Blue, Bouchard is someone who I do remember very, very well. She does have quite a bit of experience playing against Dignitas, so she's going to be someone we should be keeping an eye on. Although right now, she's just going to get mowed down. Milky with 2 very easy, quick kills.
Yeah, solid UMP work. Actually, a gun that we see used less and less. The MP9 and MAC-10 seem to have come to the forefront recent times. Giraffe, one of the new recruits, trying to post up some deagle work, but instead gets sprayed down. Milk's actually on for the ace. She's got 4 already. And Snowy is the only player up against them. With an MP9 in hand, gets beat by Showdown, who steals the ace away. I'm sure Dignitas do not care about that, though. It's 2 very straightforward rounds.
Indeed, and just farming that cash as well, the UMP. Going to work, extra cash in the kitty. And why the hell not? It's quite a bit of money being made, and my math is correct. It was $2,400 right there. It is correct. It is indeed correct. Full eco coming out for Cyberstorm Blue, though, Vince. It's going to be a couple of P250s, a couple of flashbangs, all 4 players stationed towards long. Flash is going to pop. Unfortunately, Dignitas have opted to go for the mid to B split. That is the perfect call coming out from Emily.
Yeah, this is an excellent call. They're not going to see a single soul on their approach. Plenty of mollies, just doing their due diligence, making sure that the CTs weren't posted up in these passive angles. Post-plant will fall upon them. P250 and a flashbang is really all that they have, so no reason to save these. Look for some exit frags if you can. Try and make this as costly as possible. There are 4 rifles in play here, and even the UMP is one of those SMGs that's more middle of the pack. It's not a completely expendable weapon, but I don't think they're really going to get their hands on too much. Smiley takes down Rain, then gets sprayed into oblivion. Milk is already 8-0 as we move into our 4th round.
Yeah, milking those rounds. And of course, money looking fantastic as well. Upgrades are going to be coming on in. Now, Emily can go for the AWP buy. She can go for any buy she wants, for that matter. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see her bring out the classic Zoom banger. She did struggle a little bit with the AWP on this map against Violent Roses. I do believe it was Senna, if memory serves me right, Vince. And maybe she'd be looking to kind of make up for that performance. Although the T side was pretty good for Dig on the Dust 2 game, but except that the CD side is where it kind of fell apart. So right now we're just about trying to get as many rounds as possible. Off to a fantastic start, as you pointed out. Milk 8 kills, 7K in the bank after the weapon upgrade as well. What do you do for Cyberstorm Blue? Like, if you're the massive underdogs here coming on in, it is your map pick like Dust 2. If it's like, would you try and be hyper aggressive, maybe play an extremely in your face sort of Counter-Strike, or do you just try and stick to a more safer approach, whatever you practiced, in your scrims and whatnot?
I think, honestly, what they need to do is come into this game and realize, as you said, massive underdogs. There is an element of pressure off their shoulders. No one expects them to win. If they come out here, they make a map close, that's probably a bit of a success. If they can take a map away, all the better for it. But Dignitas is certainly the favorites. I'd like to see them go for some Hail Mary plays. I'd like to see them try and go for some experimental stuff here and knock Dignitas on their back foot. I don't know how much time that they've realistically had with Giraffe coming in to get super rock solid strats in play, but maybe this is the time where, not right now, you don't want to push the panic button at 3-0 down, but I'm looking more along the lines of maybe 8 or 9 rounds through the half if it hasn't started very well for you, that you do start to play aggressive. You try and take tunnels control, you try and take maybe some middle aggression and wrap around the back of the T's and get Dignitas in kind of awkward positions. The issue for me though, Blair, is these first 3 rounds have been so dominant. We've seen a couple of moments of maybe a USP headshot here or there. Other than that, it's been domination. So there's nothing right now that I can get really excited for, but it is early days. And now Cyberstorm Blue, they have themselves an AWP, they have themselves full rifles. This is where I want to see what they have.
Like you pointed out, weapons are not going to be a problem this time around for Cyberstorm. They've had to contend against the SMGs, the rifles from Dignitas, just with the pistols for the past couple of rounds, and now Kimmy with the AWP. It's going to be kind of a standard setup. 2 players towards A, 1 towards long. That is Bouchard. Utility is a bit sparse for the CT side, and Dignitas, they seem to be just getting control here. They're going to be going for the mid to B smoke. That's going to force out Kimmy from a position. Actually, they're going to relinquish short control for now, and now they're aware it could all be a ruse, as Dignitas, all 4 members gathered up, heading for this A bomb site.
Good old classic bamboozle strats. As they look to pile out on catwalk. Flashes and mollies there alongside it. Kimmy's been forced out of position multiple times. She has no line of sight. This is so rough, and now the rifles rip in. Never really had a hope. There was no help around to only Snowy post up the 1 frag, but other than that, Dignitas just having their way with Cyberstorm Blue.
Someone needs to check Kimmy's eyes after that. She might need a doctor. She was blinded for close to half an hour by the looks of things. Nice avoidance of the flashbang with Smiley. Finds 2, but jumps up, not expecting the 3rd. this retake, there was a slim chance that we shot 1v2, trying to bait out a shot from Emily. And Emily, she's not going to fall for it. She's going to land the one shot that she, well, which she will get from the pull of the trigger. 4-2-0 for Dignitas, and great work. Those flashes, Vince, it was beautiful, and at the same time, it was painful for Kimmy. She couldn't see anything.
Yeah, perspective is everything, right? If you're Dignitas, it's chef's kiss. If you're on Cyberstorm Blue, it's just pure pain. It's misery. Flashes, Molotovs off. I mean, she never really had a chance to even get into a safe position. She just got charged down, and that's the issue. If you leave your AWPer on the site by themselves and you don't have that second player on car, you don't have anyone watching catwalk, like, you are very susceptible to being charged down like that. It's really brutal for Kimmy, because now they've got nothing against Blair. They're going to be waiting a while before they get another AWP. It's going to be at least the next round if they don't invest anything here. The most rough start you could really hope for if you're on the CT side.
For sure. And 4 rounds in, look at the money. Emily's on 7K, 7.8. She's got the AWP in her hands. This is off the buy. You have Milk, Sholiana on an average of like almost $5,000. Thea's looking comfortable. Raid's a little bit low on funds, but that's okay when you have the rest of the teammates looking, being so rich. And this is a round where they should be trying to keep majority of their players alive and keeping the weapons in play for the next round as well. At least the aggression from Cyberstorm towards mid, it's given them an inkling as to where this hit is going to be coming in, though. But they still need to win their duels here, Vince, and unfortunately, they're not.
Yeah, they're always going to be at a disadvantage when you have pistols up against rifles. Nice shot from Giraffe, but Smiley also came in. Not too bad. At least putting this into the realms of possibility, Blair, albeit unlikely, especially it's been now tagged down to 37. And Thea will finish off the frag. 5-0. Incredibly rapid rounds, though. Cyberstorm Blue can't seem to get a blockade set up.
Well, at least the caveat being that it was just the pistols there. So, the fact they got a couple of kills, fair enough. Milk, 11 kills and just the one death. Emily just trying to line up a shot, just trying to time a shot through the middle, through the smoke. And Dignitas, a much faster round this time around, Vince. They're going to be going in for this fast hit towards A, but the incendiary is going to put a halt to that for the time being. A follow-up Molotov as well. But early on, a minute and 35 seconds already, and the CTs have utilized almost all their the damage dealing utility on that A bomb site. So even though, they're not able to go for this fast hit towards A, they're just taking out a lot of the utility from the Cyberstorm Blue side.
Yeah, you smashed it, Blair. Absolutely spot on. And it's felt like desperation, right? Because they've been wrecked so many times off these fast cap plays. They threw 2 early incendiaries over. The second Dignitas heard that, they're like, cool, let's just change position. Bouchard may get the first frag. They could line up for it, but it's only the one. She was anticipating maybe a flash from a teammate. I'm not sure what happened over on A. They've done a good job, though, of holding the line with Kimmy's AWP. And now she can relocate behind the smoke, still cognizant of catwalk. And 2 players up there, 2 more now making moves and shimmying. Much better from Cyberstorm Blue, but they need to convert this at a little cost and casualties as possible. Milk continues to impress, continues to dine on the deaths of Cyberstorm Blue as Emily looking for that peak. Nothing forthcoming just yet with the AWP. They're going to have to get a move on, and now they've lost both their players. The Cyberstorm Blue looked a bit shaky at the end, but they do retain 3 players for their first round.
And that was the AWPer right there. She should have been dead to rights. Giraffe, she was on that A bomb site. She did play distraction, but the fact is, Kimmy just spun around with the AWP and got the kill on the player coming up from Cat. So finally a bit of success. Although they did lose a couple of players, and right now for Cyberstorm, it's not, again, considering it's a map pick, it's not about just winning a couple rounds here and there. It's about stringing a few rounds together. The flashbang is good, saves Bouchard for a while, but it's down to 27 HP, and the teammates are nearby to ensure that even if she does get taken down, at least a trade will take place.
Good frag. And 4 and AWP chiming together, keeping the T's at arm's reach, but now they're battling back. Pivoting in for the KO punches. That grenade does so much damage with the Molotov. Emily's dropped to 9. She has to back away. Can't afford to support Rain. And she looks to try and get some entries out on long, and there's still so much time left, Blair. Dignitas, they don't have to fully commit to this.
They were, of course, aware that both the players were towards long. I would have thought there was an opportunity there for maybe Snowy to walk up mid and hold kind of an off angle top of mid, cut off any potential rotation. But instead, they're going to be playing a safer game. I can't really blame them for it. They want to win this round. They want to win it while keeping these last 3 remaining players alive as well. And have lost the AWP towards Long. Giraffely holding towards CT. She's got a teammate that is Smiley tucked in towards the mid cubby and Snowy towards B. So they're kind of isolated. Smoke's going to be a dead giveaway. Giraffely, does she go for the phase? Does she go for the spam? Yes, she will. Unfortunately, doesn't land a single tag. If the bomb gets planted here, Vince, if it gets planted for Long and Emily with the AWP can sneak her way back towards pit or maybe towards the Long platform, it could be great, but it looks like the retake's going to be on even before the bomb gets down.
Yeah, now those smokes that were a bastion of hope are now going to dissipate. That leaves it all on Rain, spinning around, nearly takes down 2, but they will retain 2 players. And it was unfortunate there. I think Dignitas in an ideal world would have had Emily stay in the pit and then the second player would have gone up for the plant on the bomb, as you highlighted. But because they had no intel on the site and they're a player behind, they were scared if there's a player like Gandalf or hiding behind the box, that's the bomb that gets dropped and the round is just done at that stage. So I can understand the decision-making. Didn't end up working out, but at least they're keeping the CT's economy low and honest, and they can continue to replenish their buys.
They will indeed, but if Cyberstorm can somehow clinch this one while keeping the majority of the players alive, they would have broken the money, and that's going to force Dig to just go for maybe some pistols, and that's another opportunity for Cyberstorm to string these rounds together. But what worries me, Vince, is like it's just going to require 1 round from Dig to break the economy, and then it could just spiral completely out of control. We've seen this happen so many times in Dust 2, and for the very first time, it feels like in forever, or for that matter, in ever on this map, it's going to be the B hit coming on in, and it's going to be Snowy, and she's left alone. She's isolated. Her teammate has to bail because of the flashbangs, and Snowy needs to find something. She's got to find one, but she will be traded as she burns alive in Sholiana's flames.
1 kill might be good enough, though, for Snowy, because she softened up Milk and Sholiana and kept them at bay for a little bit. So the CTs now all clumped up outside together. But look how much utility they have left. They got 2 incendiaries. They can toss those towards the back boxes. They can smoke off tunnel. They can look for a very solid retake. Sholiana being flashed multiple times. Milk tries to hold down with the AK. 1 frag comes down. Emily also chips in, and it's a perfect hold by Dignitas. When I saw that many grenades firing in, I thought that Cyberstorm Blue had a chance. It was quickly snuffed out.
I mean, you nailed it when you said it was a 4v4, and I do believe it was Snowy who had softened up a couple of those players. You saw the utility. You're like, yeah, they should be working out, but you could see, like, the aim on the Dig players, they were really on point today. They even had the contingency plan of another player flanking in all the way from lower dock as well. So even if the CDs have got a kill, or maybe 2 kills, I feel like Dig they had it in the bag there. And this is a round, I said, they wanted to win this convincingly. Kimmy trying to be sneaky in the smoke. As they say, Vince, you know, want to avoid smoke. It's dangerous for your health. And she gets taught a lesson there by Kimmy. And yeah, money has been broken. Sure, they've gone for a few pistol upgrades. Sure, Snowy has a Mag 7. And, okay, hold on. This could get ugly. Snowy, the bomb's dropped. The bomb's in CT. It's in CT spawn and Snowy's aware of this. It's suddenly gotten way more interesting than it had any right to be.
Yeah, because they've all focused their fire down on CT, now Bouchard could show her hand up on Catwalk with a P250. What? 2 kills go down alongside Smiley. And Sholiana has to try and dig them out of this 1-on-2. Again, as you highlighted, the bomb in such an awkward position. And Sholiana knows that she will have to traverse over some very murky waters if she wants to retrieve it. Now, I've got no problem with shoulder peeking this angle and keeping her interested. It puts her in that position of maybe being Mag 7 down. The bomb now has been retrieved. Is the timing going to work against the Brazilian? It absolutely does. Cyberstorm Blue with one of their worst buys have made it work.
I can't believe they pulled that one off, and you can see everyone all smiles. Bouchard, like the timing on the flank from Cat. The first kill, great stuff, but this was the round win was this Mag 7. Snowy just swinging out wide. Bouchard with a second P250 kill, especially the moment she got blinded as well. That was a Christmas miracle. 6-3. They win just with the pistols. The guns have been retrieved as well. An AK-47 upgrade as well for Bouchard. And Snowy as well, picking up the AK, AWP in play. And Dignitas' money has finally been broken. They just have to deal with the pistols now. Couple of deeks, just the one deek, P to 50, Tech 9, a bit of utility. A bomb down would be a win for the dig side. And for Cyberstorm, it's about keeping as many players alive as possible.
We've seen though, Dignitas have very good utility on the approach. Perfect flashbang. Goose entirely blinded. Bouchard will go down to the P250. And now Smiley in an awkward position has to throw up the grenade. Nearly finishes off Rain. But now there's an AK has traded hands. Rain's been put down by Giraffe, who is looking to come through on long alongside Smiley. The two of them could very well isolate and pivot in with their utility, but they're being triple peaked. And the peaks are going well. Kimmy, though, still alive, still kicking at the backside of the site. He's doing tons of damage, and Emily was the last woman standing with just a Glock. It was never going to work. But you said win condition, or at least mission accomplished, would be a bomb plant. Well, they got that plus 2 kills.
They did. That's a pretty big win for Dig. And keeping the money kind of honest, as you pointed out, for Cyberstorm Blue, that was the objective. They've for sure achieved it. There is still some residual cash for Cyberstorm, though, right? You look at Snowy after the buy, she's on 5.5k rather. Giraffe is not that poor either. So there's no immediate danger of having to, you go for a force, like a rough force buy, or have to go for an eco. But yeah, 5 rounds remaining in this half. They want to at least make it a bit competitive. And right now, it is looking a bit competitive. 6-4, considering the substantial lead Dignitas had earlier on. Fortunes have kind of started favoring Cyberstorm Blue. Long hit coming on in. Kimmy trying to time the shot, despite being blinded. And Dig, it's all a ruse. It's all a ruse. They're playing a bit of a default here, something they haven't gone for that often. Where did it go with this, though?
Glad they showed a bit of respect as well to Kimmy. She's been on point with the AWP the last few rounds. And as you correctly said, it was a 5-0 lead for Dignitas. Looking like the game was in the palm of their hands. We were starting to worry about Cyberstorm and what kind of resistance they could post up. Past that point, they've looked sharp. Giraffe is being tagged down so low. 3 HP, nearly gets punctured through the smoke. Just about lives to tell a tale, though. 40 seconds to go, though, Blair, and now we're going to start to see a wraparound.
Rain does burn alive, and so is Bouchard. You will somehow survive, and in all the chaos, Milk, she just mowed everyone down in her path, finds another one, and Bouchard's left wondering what the hell just went wrong. Milk, what are you on? 4k for her on a warpath, single-handedly, completely decimating the defense. I want to see each and every kill from a POV, because that looked ludicrous.
19 kills, Blair. She's nearly on 150 ADR. She started so well, 8 kills after 3 rounds, but she has continued the pace. She has not gone off the boil, and now she has an AWP in her hand, as if she wasn't deadly before.
That's just grotesque from Milk. And we were looking at Thea and Rain, kind of the star players of this team. We're like, yeah, it's going to be them out aiming. And Milk's like, sorry, got Milk. And it's just rampaging through the CT side. And once more, Cyberstorm have to try and make something work with these pistols. And unfortunately, I like the plan here. They've gone for the aggressive, just push towards A. Unfortunately, they're going to be a little too late, as the B bomb side will be taken over by Dignitas. And as we all know, Vince, retaking this bomb side is one of the hardest things to do in Counter-Strike, alongside trying to win a 1v1 against Simple.
No, 100%. Especially when you have lucky utility. Oh, that was a good way to kick things off, though. 2 Deke headshots, but it has been somewhat silenced by Showliana's double. It does give them enough reasons to keep pushing forward, though. Not to just look for exit frags and try and scavenge some weapons, but to try and clutch this round. Emily, the back of the side, needs to post up a masterclass, and she does. Holds on for a 2k, but the fact that Cyberstorm Blue nearly snuck that round underneath Dignitas is pretty wild.
That is wild. I did not expect it to be that close. A 1v1 could have 100% gone either way. And unfortunately for Cyberstorm, it was the captain, good old Captain Emily, coming to the rescue of her teammates and clutching it out. But that got unnecessarily very hairy indeed. And even though they don't win the round, though, they keep the money. Like, Dig, even though they've been winning these rounds, at least if we ignore the first few rounds we had in this half, Cyberstorm has done a pretty good job just, trying to keep the money in check, trying to ensure that if they make a mistake, they lose a round, they're going to be forced to go for an eco. The problem being that they themselves have been struggling against some of these weaker buys from the side of Dignitas. But let's see what happens here. 8-4. 3 more rounds remaining, and once more it's going to be hit coming towards A, and it's going to be Kimmy. Oh, misses the shot, and she does somehow manage to get into cover in the nick of time.
Yeah, just about, but has missed that second point of call. Bouchard has her back covered at least for any fast cat play. Smiley's watching middle. Rain thinking at least and flirting with the idea of going for this peak. If she does, could be to her detriment. There's a flash before it. And that's going to force Smiley to turn her back. And there's actually the smoke, I think, that was tossed towards the side. That's very unfortunate timing. Bouchard's been tagged by the grenade, so that's some sound cues. But I don't think Dignitas care too much because they're forcing 3 players towards the B side where it's only Snowy alone again.
Well, once again, the B bomb site be the target of Dignitas' affection. Kind of deadly affection, though. Bouchard does find Rain. And at this point, you just want to save. Your money is kind of grim. You have an AWP in the hands of Kimmy. You don't want to let go of that. Cyberstorm, despite some of their attempts at a B-bomb site looking, almost leading to a round win, will have to just head for the hills here. 9-4 for Dig. It did get kind of close, Vince. It was 6-5, I believe, for Dig there at one point in time, but it looks like they've kind of recovered from that. They've kept 4 players alive as well, and they're not going to be left wanting for any money in the latter stages of this half. And looks like this half is firmly going to go the way of Dig. Unless Cyberstorm pull off something miraculous, where they have been close to doing, but just not able to get over that finish line.
Yeah, they've made a bunch of these rounds close, like 3v3, even 1v1s, but ultimately Dignitas have just been a step ahead. They've had a kind of better, I'd say, control over the economy. Obviously, that will often be the case on the T side. That 5-0 start definitely had a massive help to bolster not just their overall round count, but their economy. Put Cyberstorm Blue in a very awkward position. They've called a timeout here to at least try and salvage this half to some degree, but it feels like it may be too little too late to me, Blair, because best case scenario here is they're going to be coming through in that second half of, 6 rounds? It's maybe not going to be good enough.
Yeah, I do still see a reality where Cyberstorm Blue can outplay Dig's CD side, because I won't lie, Dig looked very shaky in the CD side against Violent Roses, and they lost 16-14 on this very map. And it was because Violent Roses did a fantastic job just, being very patient, just outplaying Dig, forcing them to use up the utility and whatnot. So that's something. If Cyberstorm Blue have done their homework, that is a weakness for the Dignitas CD side of Duster, which they can potentially exploit. But like you pointed out, if the scoreline is like something like 11-4, then you're not going to have much margin for error. You're not going to have much room to work with. So you want to give yourself that little bit of extra breathing space, which is what they're going to be fighting for here desperately.
Well, Dignitas looking to put an end to this map as soon as possible. There are gaps in those smokes, and Draftly had a chance, but there was a flashbang alongside. A great flick from Kimmy. Could see the feet of Emily underneath the smoke. And now Cyberstorm Blue, they're shifting through the gears. This timeout seems to be the reprieve that they desperately required.
Indeed. And Sholiana, 1v4. Bomb is planted for her, Vince, but I won't lie, this looks very, very unlikely. They got a couple of Molotovs, they got a smoke for the bomb as well, 2 flashbangs, and more importantly, 4 players alive with rifles. And one by one, they're going to come clearing out the close angle. Sholiana goes for the flick shot. Unfortunately, that's not going to land. She's going to find Bouchard, though. Re-peeks out again. They've smoked off the bomb. She's not able to land a shot. They're going to take it, and she's going to go for the flick, find Smiley, and unfortunately, doesn't land a 3rd shot onto Snowy and Kimmy. Saving her teammate. There was a chance there, Vince. There was a chance. If she landed the shot through onto the diffuser, there was a chance she could have clutched that one out. That was a nice try. That was an NT right there.
That second flick, flicking downwards, was actually so sick from Sholiana there. Straight up. Now, I will say, even though she didn't win the round, it has had an impact on the economy. There's 3 FAMASs now in play, as opposed to M4s. So those are the little incremental advantages that could yield you a 10-5 after all. And there's one of the first FAMASs. Just gets steamrolled over by Thea.
Absolutely wrecked. Thea's even got a Zeus. I think she picked it up for the CT. I don't know. Snowy, though, she's got to go big here. She's all by her lonesome, and she's going to land a dink, but unfortunately doesn't quite get the kill. 4v3. And Dig, time and time again, Vince, they give a round and they immediately win the next round, and that's just got to be so frustrating for Cyberstorm Blue. There's no point saving anyway. It's the final round of the first half here, and they have to go for the retake. They have a lot of utility. They have 3 sets of kits. Unfortunately, man advantage, or rather player advantage, for the side of Dignitas.
Yeah, and Milk is still alive. She's been the human highlight reel, and there we go again! Triple spray down from Milk. Perfect time, perfect place, perfect aim. We'll go through to the second half, but I'm not sure after that masterclass that Cyberstorm Blue will be able to weather the storm. We'll be right back.
I can't believe it's been another year. Time goes by so fast. It was a tough one, yeah. We shed some tears, but you reminded me to laugh. Wanna raise a glass, wanna give my thanks. I don't say the words enough. Just know that you're loved, and it's to you. It's to you. Baby, you still give me butterflies when you whisper in my ear. All those little things you do for me show me that you care. So pour this champagne, it's a special day. I don't say the words enough. Wanna make you feel my love. So it's to you, you, for all the things you do. Here's to you, here's to you, you. You made my dreams come true. Here's to you. After all this time, our love is as strong as the day I met you. I just wanna thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's true. Ooh, here's to you. Here's to you. Here's to you. You, for all the things you do. Here's to you. Here's to you. You, make my dreams come true. Here's to you. Here's to you. Here's to you. For all the things you do. Here's to you. Here's to you.
From a neutral's perspective, I sure hope that Cyberstorm Blue have had a chance to recover from that destruction that Milk just imposed across them. And it goes to show, Blair, that if Milk didn't post up 23 kills, this would be an incredibly close game.
Yeah, this could have indeed been an incredibly close game. Unfortunately, for Cyberstorm Blue, Dignitas, they got Milk. There we go. I do apologize for the pun, but had to do it. I could feel you just cringe internally. But Thea, she's been comparatively kind of quiet considering the ceiling we know she can hit, and she's going to be challenged here.
Oh, and instantly goes down. Beautiful crosshair placement. Smiley and Snowy instantly rip in. She's got double dinked pretty much. And now Sholiana having to try and post up something through middle. Gets the double peek. 3 of the CTs now pushing round the back. 1 through catwalk, the other 2 in rain. And Sholiana coming out through long. How many kills can Emily put down with Milk? Milk in with another one. 24 kills. Emily goes down, but they've stalled this long enough that those 2 wraparound flankers have now shown their hand. Although Milk will fall, they're in close enough proximity to have a real go at this one. The downside is between the 2, they don't actually have a kit, but they don't require it yet, Blair, because the bomb's still yet to get planted.
This is a bit of a circus, isn't it? They're going to be running straight towards B, but Rain's going to be ready and waiting. Are they going to be expecting her, though? They're not, but doesn't matter. She's going to be whiffing a few of her shots, and that's going to allow both the players to cross on over. Snowy finds Rain, and it's all on the Brazilian. Sholiana, the 1v1, but Bouchard clutches it out. That was such an important round to win for Cyberstorm Blue, and they pulled it off.
Yeah, absolutely huge. Absolutely massive. We saw how good Dignitas were at closing out from winning the pistol to a 5-0 lead, so losing that second pistol would have felt, to me, Blair, like a death sentence. The fact that they've got it down, they can keep that CT economy rough. There's no force buy coming in from Dignitas, so Cyberstorm Blue have a golden opportunity now to rip through the rounds and get this really, really close.
They do. They've done whatever we said was needed, right? 10-5, some breathing space, winning the pistol round. Coming down to 1v1 and Bouchard being the hero for a team. And for Dignitas, I won't lie, I'm a little surprised at the restraint when it comes to this buy. They've just gone for the P250s, Vince. USP for Thea, a couple of flashes, that's about it. They're going to be pushing up top mid. Now, this timing could be brutal. Oh, this could be rough. This could be rough. Look at the player here, just running on out. Bouchard, she's going to get taken down. A P250's doing work. Couple of guns picked up. And all of a sudden, in a round where they barely purchased anything, they're going to be having to face off against 5 players. And with just 3 alive for the T side.
Not like this, Blair. Not after getting the all-important pistol. Don't let things crumble straight away. So 2 Galils, no Kevlar behind them. A flashbang's also been picked up. And Kimmy, with only a scout, has to try and weather the pressure that will be swelling. Flicks up, connects the shot, but goes down to the hands of Milk. And now Sholiana comes back in with the P250. Not only did Dignitas take the round, but they'll take all 5 weapons. All 5 survive.
That's me channeling Cyberstorm Blue's pain through myself. 4 P250s, Vince. 4 P250s. There was a USB there and a couple of flashes. I think they had a smoke as well. That's it. So a total investment of around $2,200 against almost a full buy with Galils and scouts and whatnot. And they don't lose a single player. Look at the CD's buy. They have 4 Galils and a scout. I repeat, they have 4 Galils and a scout. What is even going on?
Yeah, and meanwhile, it's Cyberstorm Blue's turn to have basically nothing. They have a flash and a smoke, and that's it. They don't even have P250, so it's full-on Glocks. And this is surely where a bit of sanity is put back down into effect. Smoke's now being traded out as the T's try and push outside. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but now Rain should be chunking through with the Galil. Wasn't far off landing the ace. Did a bit of damage to Kimmy, who gets finished off by Milk. And Dignitas will have a 12-6, but Cyberstorm Blue at least have a buy coming up, but it will be without an AWP.
It will be without an AWP, and that could be a bit problematic, especially with Emily picking up the AWP on her side. I'm sure she is. There we go. Although, I gotta say, Emily has been a bit surprisingly quiet with the big green gun compared to, like, the rest of the teammates. And Thea and Rain were spectacular in the previous game they had, and of course Milk has just been, well, a beast, a force of nature so far on this Dust 2 map. And Emily has been, I wouldn't say the weakling. Obviously, she is the caller, she's the veteran, she's the player behind the team, but I've seen what she can do with the AWP. Unfortunately, it looks like she has been a bit quiet this tournament so far. But let's see here. CD side, opping Dust 2. A little bit easier at times. Thea having quite a quiet game. The smoke's going to keep the 3 Ts at bay for the time being, but it looks like Cyberstorm are looking to go for this long play while leaving Giraffely as kind of like the lurk towards short.
Yeah, it's slow and steady by Cyberstorm Blue. Now smokes and flashes will start to get tossed in. Thea here alone. She can get a few kills, that'll be huge, but she actually goes down without even pulling the trigger. Completely caught off guard by that wide swing. Emily, the player that you highlighted that you wanted to see more from, well, she may be required, she may be called upon to have some fireworks if they are going to win this round out, because she's stuck on car alone. Smoke clears, freebie of a kill, just 38 seconds left, and Cyberstorm Blue still need to make moves, and in amongst all of that, Rain goes out aggressively, while Emily keeps putting down the hammer on long, and Dignitas only take one casualty.
I take it back, Emily. I take it back. That's where to shut things down. They lose the opening pick, but then the reaction from Dig, right? Like, okay, forget the trigger Emily got. Fantastic stuff from her, but just the proactiveness from the CT side. They're like, oh, okay, we see a hit coming in towards long. Let's take over mid. And you can see Sholiana coming in from tons. The flashbang from a teammate was absolute perfection. So even though Cyberstorm had a look towards mid, she was completely neutralized with a $200 flashbang. Fantastic stuff here from Dignitas on the CD side. And already a much better CD side compared to what I witnessed from them against Violent Roses early this tournament. And now, they're 3 rounds away from taking map number 1, which was, of course, a pick of their opponents. And the money is once again grim for Cyberstorm Blue. But they do have P250s, Vince, and we've already seen a team win just with the P250s.
We have, but unfortunately, it was Dignitas. So, Cyberstorm Blue losing with rifles up against P250s. I'm not completely sold on this. Aggressive positions have been maintained. Flashbang and Molotov go in. Actually bounces off the wall and goes back into the face of the CTs. This grenade has damage written all over it. Oh my god! That's about 200 damage in worth of a HE, and there's a Molotov that burns them to a crisp. Well, any dream of a P250 round is well and truly been put to bed.
They got nuked. That's the only thing I can say. Absolutely nuked towards short. Saving grace being it was, as you pointed out earlier, just the few upgraded pistols coming out. But yeah, whatever we might have been trying to imply, you know, saying they got P250s, maybe they can pull off something miraculous. No, says Dignitas. As we do see another buy coming out from Cyberstorm. This could potentially be the, it is not the final round, but could be the deciding round. If they lose this, I feel there's not going to be any stopping Dig, right? It's going to be 15-6. They're going to have 9 map points, and let's be real, it's going to be very hard for a team to claw their way back up from 15-9. It is possible. It's been done in the past, but it is still very unlikely. So here we go. It is going to be a no-nonsense play towards long. All 5 players gathered together, and the first point of contact they're going to be making here is against Emily.
Has missed the shot, gets punished, and Althea stuck behind the smoke. Has to just stay alive. Her teammates are being mollied off. There is a slight gap in that smoke. Thea is looking to try and pivot. And a second on top of it, and Dignitas looking like
it has been absolute domination, and this was after Emily. She whiffed a shot where she should have at least got a kill over there. They take it down 4v5. They get the bomb done by Dignitas. They're just relentless, just relentless aggression, relentless teamwork as well. Can't forget, I still want to go back, and I really hope, I'm not sure like if it's going to be Potter or Miss Harvey, I really hope they pick up one of the rounds where they showcase how they play the that short take with the flashbangs, the spaced out flashbangs, and fantastic stuff. So I really wish we get to see maybe a stat heal, something of that nature. But right now, though, they are going to be battling it out. As it looks like we've lost Vince for the moment momentarily, so you guys are stuck with me, unfortunately. But it's going to be Emily switching it up. Playing towards short, finds Giraffely, and a follow-up Molotov to keep Bouchard at bay. Now, Kimmy slowly creeping down mid. Flashbang is going to catch her off guard. Thea spots at least a couple of players there. Molotov towards Xbox to prevent any player from boosting their way up towards short, but Kimmy, she's going to be taking the lead. Nice flashbang. She knows where the second player is as well, but switches to the smoke at the worst time possible. Somehow switches back to the AK and finds Rain. That is massive from Kimmy, but Thea's trying her desperate best to somehow find a trade, somehow find something. But Smiley, she's going to shut the player down, and Thea and Milky, they're going to team up together, and Snowy's going to be left alone. It's a 1v2. And she's against the final boss in the server, Milk. She's gonna find her. But now, the 1v1 against Emily. The bomb will be planted, but Snowy on 12 points of health. And she's gonna clutch it out. That is so well played by Snowy. Somehow pulled off the clutch. And a desperate attempt, a desperate play. And she comes out on top.
Sick plays just when they were required. Apologies, I think my internet had a little bit of an issue there. But I'm back. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear, Blair. And we should be good to go back into this. But yeah, 8 more map points required to save. At least Dignitas' economy's been brought down a little bit, but they should be able to buy for at least another round after this if Cyberstorm Blue can keep it going. And they're going to be hitting B fast. They've already been pushed back. They've been isolated from the Molotovs and the smokes, and Milk spraying in with Rain. And it's looking all too easy. The bomb's been dropped in a horrible spot. And Cyberstorm Blue have got to just dip out of there.
They can't, Vince. They can't dip out. It's the final round. They have to go for it. But the problem is, like you pointed out, bomb being dropped. How do you enter? You have 2 Galils. At least Sholiana, well, she presents an opportunity. Milk's on 21 HP. Sholiana's been taken out. She barely scratched Bush out there. And Thea, if she gets taken down, there is a chance. There is an opportunity. But the amount of utility remaining on the CD is actually not that much. They use up the Molotov, the last remaining Molotov. The one thing going the way is the fact that they have time. Unfortunately, they have no more players remaining, Vince. It's all in Giraffe Lee, the latest addition to this team, mind you, in a 1v4.
Well, best of luck to you, Giraffe Lee. As the first goes down, 78 HP remaining, pre-firing all the spots. AWP shot does miss, but she's being flanked by Milk. Milk has been ruthless, taking no prisoners the entire duration of this game, and with every passing second, Milk is getting closer and closer, and she shuts it down from behind. 30 kills dropped in the process. A phenomenal performance from Milk.
Absolutely spectacular stuff coming out from her, and even for the side of Dignitas, I love how they were unrelenting every time Project C, I'm getting confused with the names over here. Every time Cyberstorm Blue managed to get around, immediate reply from Dignitas. They had some spectacular teamwork on the T side. But like you said, the star, the undisputed star in that server, in that map was Milk. She was god tier.
Unbelievable. Just so good. Well over 120 ADR, huge plays, triple sprays, clutches, everything you could have asked for and more. But we're going to cut to a break, Blair, and let the desk break down and really savor every single one of those 30 kills.
What a fantastic opening map for Dignitas. They take the first game here against Cyberstorm Blue. You are, of course, watching the DreamHack Showdown Winter. We are in the NA division, and we might have had some question marks if Dignitas was going to be able to be awake in full force on their first map, and I think we have our answer. They showed up. They did super well. I'm here with Potter and Miss Harvey. And Potter, Dignitas, they look like they're in it to win it at the moment.
Yeah, no. They came out swinging, man. They look like a team with the statement to prove. And that was our biggest question, right? It was the fact that they were not awake in their first series. I think we can clearly see that. Like Milk right now, she is hitting on all cylinders. The woman, she did not stop. She did not stop. Usually, you know, there's some breathing room for herself, but it seemed like she was just, her stamina was all over the place and she was confident and as it should be, because she was not tested in any way.
No, and I know, Steph, you said before the series that you were going to have your eyes on Giraffe Lee for a little bit more so that you can, kind of gauge how she's doing as a new addition to the squad. How did you feel she performed?
Well, unfortunately if we look at the stats, she was definitely a little bit at the bottom for Cyberstorm and overall of the server. But, it's really hard for anyone to shine and to take away anything positive for Cyberstorm. I actually thought they were pretty lucky to get away with 5 rounds on the first half. It was kind of like Christine mentioned, they kind of got the bomb throughout the sky and spawn, and you know that doesn't happen quite often, and they got away with that round. You know, Sholiana almost gave us a clip with 1 versus 4 as well. So all of these rounds look pretty scrappy for Cyberstorm.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate, especially considering that was Cyberstorm's map pick for this series. I believe also, Steph, you have something to show us on the drawing board.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to show you here. We didn't really know how good Dignitas was going to come in on Dust 2. And here they are doing kind of their default, taking control of their mid and coordinating that cat push pretty well, pushing back Kimi and Giraffe. I want to talk about their A take though. So as soon as they get ready, you see Brain here is going to get ready for a smoke. That lurk smoke is gonna come up, that other smoke to block the Opera. But look at Kimi, she gets 1 flash down the ramp, a 2nd flash down the ramp, and allows these 3 players to run in and take completely control. Deny Kimi of any vision, any kill, and then just control the pace right after that. That was round number 4, and it happened almost every round where they had a perfect execution on their T side.
Yeah, and I have been asked if we could explain our attire at the moment. We have seen in their previous game map that this is the new style. This is the hot and happening, so we figured we would be joining suit and, you know, be all fashionable here.
Yeah,
Cool
it's strange.
kids.
It's strange that Dagny didn't get the memo. We got the memo. The cool kids are all wearing beanies right now, so we hopped on board.
Yeah,
right away.
beanies under their headset, which you know, watch out for your footsteps, guys. We still need to be hearing anything, but it doesn't matter. They're wearing the beanies.
I hear you guys loud and clear, so hopefully those footsteps will be heard as well. They're gonna need to hear them. We are heading to our second map. It's gonna be Train. It is a map pick by Dignitas, so Cyberstorm Blue. They got the work cut out for them. We'll see what they do after the break.